Hi guys, it's Dom from Waddling About Rocking Out. Just had a wonderful chat with my good friend Tom. Talked rubbish about his journey as a content creator, his disability, how he copes with cerebral palsy, and loads more besides. There's so much good stuff to come from Tom, and it's an absolute pleasure to have this chat with him. And I hope you guys get a lot from it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting what we do, and we'll see you soon. All right, Tom talks rubbish. Welcome to Wobbling About and Rocking Out, the accessibility side of what I do. It's a pleasure to have you on the channel today, mate. How are you doing? What are you up to? And tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, please.
As I say, mate, as we were just talking about off camera, by the way, it's great to be here, man. Like, we've done a lot of collaborations for my channel. Yeah. So it's very nice to be on one of your projects. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So cool. For those that don't know, I have a similar medical condition as Dom called cerebral palsy. I have something called spastic diplegic cerebral palsy, though, which basically means the main thing that's affected by my cerebral palsy is my legs.
Yeah.
So I'm a wheelchair user, and I don't know if you can see above me, but I have a ceiling track hoist.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
And I have a wheelchair, I have a shower chair and bits like that I use on a daily basis. But also, I'm a YouTuber, similar to Dom. Like, I have basically, shall I tell the story, the idea of my YouTube channel?
Please do. Yeah, tell us as much as you want, mate.
Basically,
all the time in the world.
The initial idea for my YouTube channel came about during the stay-at-home period of the COVID-19 pandemic. I can say that on YouTube now, right?
Yes,
we're not going to get in trouble for that.
No, you'd be right.
I was like, I'm bored. Do you know what I mean? I need something to do. So the first couple of interviews I did was, I don't know if you've seen them, Dom, but
I've seen most of your work. Yeah, I see what I love. I don't mean to interrupt you. What I love is you and I have the wrestling, stuff, but you also do some of your more popular stuff on the channel is the work you've done. You've interviewed your carers, you're interviewing people around you, you're interviewing real people about real stuff. So yeah, was that always the goal, was to interview people around you as well as, wrestling media personalities, stuff like that?
Well, that's sort of a two-pronged question. So I'll give you two sort of answers to that. Because I never thought I'd have the confidence to do wrestling media, because I'll be honest, I didn't think I was good enough. So the plan was, so it first came about when the first one I did was with a carer of mine that he went on holiday somewhere. He loved the area and was like, and then basically a house came on the market in that area.
Right.
And he was like, I'm going to do it, mate. I'm going to move. I love it. Like, it's a college town, so it was good for his age group and stuff. And then he came down to see me and just sort of spend some time. And I was like, mate, can I interview you about what moving away during the pandemic was like? And he was like, yeah, of course. So that one took off, and it gained a lot of traction because I don't know how he saw it, but Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic, he retweeted it for some reason. He saw it, and he doesn't follow me, and we haven't got that many followers in common. So I don't know how he saw it, but he tweeted it and was like, this is really good. Tom's one of our biggest fans. Give it a watch. So that one gained some traction. And then a few months went by because at the time I wasn't confident enough asking people to come on and stuff like that. And I didn't really know how Zoom worked, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So then the head of the care company was like, I'm going to cover you for the day because your regular carers are off.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Then the wheels started turning again, no pun intended, Dom, of like, could I interview her? Like, I think that would be cool, because I felt like, obviously the pandemic was still quite heavy at this point. So obviously she's faced a lot of challenges in the pandemic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then that one again did really well. Another few months went by. A carer that really got into arts and crafts while we were away during the pandemic was like, they've become popular again. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
We had someone that had always wanted to get into caring, and just decided during the pandemic, you know what, I'm gonna take that leap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought, obviously, there's challenges that she would have faced that maybe she wouldn't have faced during normal times,
Yeah,
shall we say?
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So that was another one that was fun. And then interviews dried up for about 2 months or so. And then out of the blue, I stuck up a video saying, right, these are 10 people that if I could interview them, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And again, Adam saw it and was like, I know you're not very good with Zoom, so I will happily set up the Zoom stuff for you and record it for you. I was like, if you're sure, that's awesome. He even did a bit of editing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that one did really well. So that started a relationship with Cultaholic.
Amazing.
And them all just being like, yeah, we'll come on. Adam's vouched for you. And then once you've interviewed some people in wrestling media, you gain a bit of street cred.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So now it's been since probably July of last year, there hasn't been a week that I haven't at least done one interview for my channel.
You've got a backlog of content, haven't you?
It's like, when's this guy now done?
So, mate, this will go out in the next few days, but because we do interviews every day. But I love the way you backlog stuff. I think it's really clever. I mean that moves on nicely to my next question. Really, how would you say you've changed and developed then since that the beginning of your channel? What have you learned? Because you've interviewed the best of the best in wrestling media. You've obviously interviewed people outside of that, which I think is crucial. You've not just interviewed people in wrestling; you've interviewed real people with real challenges. So what have you learned about yourself and how have you changed and developed since the start of your channel up until this point?
Again, I'm going to ramble for
Please do.
minutes because that's just what I do, man. But I've learned that no isn't such a bad word. I used to hate the word no as a kid, even as a young adult. Do you know what I mean? I used to think, oh no, someone said no, like my life is over almost. Yep. But when you start getting no, like, because I've never had, and I don't know if you've ever had this, Tom, like, no, your content's shit, basically. Yeah. I've never had that.
People were, nobody.
I've always,
go on.
Sorry, man. Continue. No, continue.
I was just going to say, people don't tend to do that, do they? It's the British, maybe it's a British thing, but in America, people tend to be like, no, I don't want to do this because it sucks. But in the UK, people tend to, they just say no and they don't give you a reason for it. So.
No. I've got reasons, but it's always been like, I'm too busy right now, or I don't have time in my schedule, but reach out to me in a few months and which I have done. Like an interview I was trying to land for months was an interview with, Emilio Sparks that runs
of course.
Renee Paquette's podcast. Yeah. That's an interview I've been trying to land 4 months. And that's happening this week at time of recording, just because we're finally connecting and stuff like that. So that I've never got, so I feel like I've learned that no isn't such a bad word. What else has taught me? Like, to listen to other people and not be so selfish almost.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, cool.
Like, should I elaborate on that?
Please do. Yeah, please do. That's an interesting one.
It's sort of made me realize, like, people have their own shit going on, for lack of a better word. Like, you're not the only person in the world, sort of thing, if that makes sense. Because my carers will tell me this. When they first met me 6 years ago, I was an arrogant teenager that thought they knew everything.
Okay, interesting.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it was like, no, this is the way we do things. I'll only do this. But then they've all said, like, not just through YouTube, but through, as I've got older, I've definitely realized that, like, a lot of people have it worse than me, like, in terms of medical conditions. And I used to feel sort of very like, oh, woe is me sort of thing.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's made you a little bit more well-rounded. You've reflected and you've kind of changed and developed. You've become a more well-rounded person, maybe through experiencing working with other people.
I don't know if that's definitely a thing. I don't know if that's a YouTube thing. I don't know if that's a just a growing up thing.
Yeah.
If the two things are simultaneous. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, interesting. How is it for you then to reflect on that? You know, because obviously, again, a lot of people think they've got it, you know, they're doing the right thing all the way through. So you're actually saying you've changed, developed, you've improved as a YouTuber, you've improved as a person even. And I wonder how that feels to
I'll give you a massive example.
Yeah.
There's this carer that I absolutely adore in my company because she was the one that I started with. She started at the same time as me. So she started working for the company at the same time as the company started working for me, if that makes sense. And about 2 years after working together, we stopped working together.
Right.
Because I'd become a bit of a dick, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
Like, the dick side had proper taken over me. And like, I don't know, she said herself, there was a time where she couldn't be around me because like, I'd think like, oh, everyone's against me, or oh, everybody's out to get me, or you do this, you work for me, sort of thing, rather than being like considerate to them. But we had dinner about a month ago. Like, I was like, there's this film I really want to see. If you want to go, I'll pay you for a couple of hours. She was like, yeah, all right. We had dinner, we cleared the air. She was like, mate, I love you now, but you were a dick back then.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's interesting. Yeah, because a lot of people can't hear that. A lot of people struggle to hear that. So that sounds like you've really developed, man.
I'll put it this way, Dom. If you'd known me when I was about 13, 14, so about 10 years ago, we wouldn't be doing stuff like this, because I couldn't tolerate you saying, shut up for a second. Or I used to get like really aggressive and like really almost violent in some ways, which I don't really want to go into, if that's okay.
No, it's okay. That is interesting, again, that you reflect on that and how far you've come. And that's, you know, it's again hard for people to do. So I respect, just want to take a moment and just say I respect you for being able to reflect on that, because a lot of people, they ignore that stuff. They push it to the back and they ignore that it's there. But actually what you've done is you go, I need to address this so that then I can become a better, you know, I can become a better person, a better presenter.
Yeah.
You know? So that I applaud you for that.
I'll put it this way. I don't think I could do YouTube when I was like 13, 14, because if I got any nasty comments or stuff like that, I'd have lashed out online, or I'd have lashed out at that person, or do you know what I mean? I
do know what you mean. And you know, obviously you've grown older, you've grown up a bit, and that's fantastic to hear, mate. And obviously it's a testament, that is a testament to where you are now as a YouTuber and as a person. You know, let's talk about YouTube. We'll talk about YouTube first. You know, you talk a lot about, you know, being verified and success and all that stuff, but I'd like to take a moment to just say, you know, you're in an enviable place now as a YouTuber. You have 500 plus subscribers. You have
definitely
hundreds of hits. You are now in a position to advise other YouTubers coming up. And I want to just take a moment to be like, what would be your advice to any young person? Again, why if somebody is 13, 14, 15, maybe they've got a little bit of growing up to do and they want to set up a YouTube channel, but maybe they're inspired by you. Because a lot of people are. I don't know if you hear this, but a lot of people are.
But
not in a just because of your disability. Not because it's because you're a hard-working lad who gets good interviews. Let's move aside from the, you know, the disability side is one of it, but you're a hard-working dude who does good interviews. So if you were to advise any young person who maybe is inexperienced what to do, and also importantly what not to do if they're setting up a YouTube channel, what would you say to them?
YouTube channel, definitely to start off with, do the work yourself. Don't rely on like others for editing and stuff like that if you can't pay them. Because no disrespect to people that have done my editing in the past, but like if they have projects that come up and they're like, sorry mate, I get paid for this one, this needs to be done now.
Yeah,
I would I can't obviously say nothing because I don't pay them, so I can't really comment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends what content they want to make. I can advise people as an interviewer, if that helps.
Yeah, please, yeah.
So with interviewing, just reach out. All someone can say is no. Like, for example, like I was saying with the Emilio Sparks one, which I've been trying to get for a few months. Is that making sense?
It is, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, keep reaching out, but don't obviously bombard. Like, I wait about a month. Say, for example, me and Emilio have spoken every month since I first asked him.
Yeah.
And finally, I don't know whether it was out of like, oh, just get this on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or he finally like, I've got a gap in my schedule, let's do it, sort of thing. Same with the John Alba one that went up this weekend.
Yeah.
It was either, and I really appreciate that, man. It was either we do it now, man, or you'll have to wait like 3-4 months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying be patient, but also persistent as well. So it's a fine balance, isn't it?
There is definitely a fine balance, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I've got people on my dream list I still need to reach out to. But for right now, with the content I've got in the can, there's an interview with Dom that will be coming out next month.
Cool.
By the way. So yeah, I also as well, audio and Zoom, just learn. All I can suggest is learn how to do things for yourself, because if you have to rely on people, your content will be slow because like they might have other things they need to do. Do you know, at least you can work around your own schedule.
That's good. That's a good point. And it moves, again, it kind of bleeds into my next question, really. You've learned a lot. I've seen you learn a lot since you started, when you were, just had a few subscribers, and now you're at 500, and you're getting those hits now because of the quality of your interviews. What would you say to somebody what not to do? If they're setting up a channel, what mistakes should somebody avoid?
Just talking to people because you want to talk to them as a fan. And I sound like a hypocrite because that's how I started my channel off. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to talk to Jack the Jobber. I just wanted to talk to Ross because I was such a big fan of them. But have questions plotted out, because one of my videos, man, that I hate is my interview with Adam Pacitti.
Which is your biggest one as well.
Which is, ironically, the one that's done the most views. I just don't like, because I was such a fanboy during that interview. Like, he talking over him, had all these questions that I wanted to get in and stuff like that. But it's like, reach out to people that have stuff to promote. Or another thing I would say is, if you're a small channel, reach out to smaller channels, because we can help each other grow. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? That's how our relationship started. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's fantastic. And those are tips that people ignore this stuff sometimes, and they go, I just want to reach this person. But then if you're just trying to reach, X, Y, and Z person, you're not learning, are you? And what I'm hearing from you is you've learned through doing interviews with smaller channels, that when you get those bigger interviews, you're more prepared.
Yeah, definitely. So like, for example, the Emilio Sparks one. Yeah. I'm someone that doesn't do a lot of research, because I find that if I do too much research, I talk at the person. Do you know what I mean?
That's interesting. Yeah, good point.
Like, I tell their story rather than them telling their story, if that makes any sense. So, but with the Emilio Sparks one, I've got pages of notes of stuff that he's done in the past, stuff about working with Renee, stuff about, because there's a really interesting Brody Lee story, which I will tell you off camera, purely because I don't want to spoil it for my interview. And like, so I tend to do more research when it's bigger. And this is what I was talking about with the verified thing the other day. Yeah. Maybe I didn't explain that very well. It was like, I find I get more nervous for the verified ones purely because if I mess it up, or if something goes wrong technology-wise, you might have to wait a few months because they're busy people. Do you know what I mean?
I see what you mean. I do. But equally, these things happen. And I think that's one of the keys. I'm fortunate enough through both Soundsphere and Give Me a Whole Year, music and wrestling, to have interviewed some of the bigger names on the planet. And I think it's about recognizing that mistakes can be made. It's just composure, you know, learning from that. And then, you know, opportunities always come back round, and you'll find this, you know, as long as you're not a dick, and we talked about that earlier, as long as you're not a dickhead, opportunities usually come back round, and opportunities will come to you. And I think, you know, one of the things I respect most about you is you have taken advice on board. You have learned from the things that people have said.
Which I couldn't have done when I was like 13, 14.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But that's growth. That's growth, man. And you're in a position now, which is why we're doing this interview, to inspire and motivate other people, you know. And obviously we've gone from a YouTube perspective, and now we're going to move to it from a disability perspective. Now, there's a couple of questions here. Now, you are an inspiration to a lot of people. You've been called that, and obviously your channel is watched by people with disabilities and differences, as well as people that are able-bodied. How do you feel about the term inspiration? Because a lot of people with disabilities, they look at it as kind of, you know, we're kind of inspiration porn for people, of course, because we're doing stuff that people with disabilities don't normally do. People go, oh, that's so inspirational. And I wonder how you feel about when people say to you, you know, you're an inspiration, things like that.
We talk about, I couldn't take criticism when I was younger. Now I struggle to take compliments. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, I think it's cool, but at the end of the day, I'm just a geek that watches wrestling in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Connects with you every so often. Gets to interview people that he finds cool. I've said it in my Twitter bio. I'm just a guy that gets to interview cool people. Do you know what I mean?
It's really
cool.
So
it's like, that's cool to hear and stuff like that. But it's like, I'm not though, because anyone can do what I do. Do you know what I mean? It just takes, Chris Van Vliet says it, the thing that you can do to start a podcast or a YouTube channel is just start at the end of the day. You're going to be shit when you first start. Look at some of my early videos where I'm sitting on my own. Don't go back and watch them, my friend. No. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's good to see where you've come from, though. I look back at some of those and the enthusiasm that you have. And I think one of the things that carries you over other people and other channels is your enthusiasm, but how it's developed from, you know, again, like fanboy enthusiasm to structured enthusiasm. You know what I mean?
Because like now I will, for example, in the John Alba one, yes, I'm a massive fan of him, but I love hearing about the clip I put on social media, for example, how he pitched podcasts to Matt Hardy. So maybe I can learn if I want to pitch a podcast to someone, or how he joined Conrad's team, or one that I found really cool was like how Sullivan Brown from No Rolls Barred was not a wrestling fan, but he connected with Adam Blompier through a love of board games. Like now I will listen for information and take that as clips and like almost treat things as headlines. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Rather than just titling my videos, I got an interview with this person.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And before we go, because again, I'm sort of yo-yoing, you know, with questions, and I do apologize, but these are coming to me, you know, as they happen. What are your goals for the future then? You know, what are your aims like with the channel? And I guess, you know, in general, what is your dream for Tom Talks Rubbish and the future of yourself as a journalist, as a broad, because that's effectively what you are, you know, a broadcast journalist.
I really appreciate that, man. But I consider myself more of a broadcaster than a journalist, because like at the end of the day, I'm talking to people. I'm not investigating details. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for Tom Talks Rubbish, I just want to continue having fun. Like all the content I make is 20 people could watch that and it would still be fun for me because I enjoy it. Like I still want to connect with people like you. I'm starting a show with Cassidy Haynes this week, which, should we talk about that for a few minutes?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, promote away.
About how that came about. So this is a boring story, but it's literally Cassidy came on my channel for an interview. And at the end of it, because you know you always have conversations with people when it's finished. Yeah. It was like, I really like you, dude. I want to do some more stuff. I just thought he meant he wants to come on my channel again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I got a DM from him a few days later. It was like, start thinking of a show for Body Slam, mate, because I really want to bring you on. I was like, did he just say that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, amazing.
So the idea of the show is, it's called the Wrestle Watch Podcast. So basically, we are gonna take one match, talk about the build-up, watch the match, and then talk about the aftermath, basically. So there's a poll out on the Wrestle Watch Twitter at the minute, and it's looking like for the first episode we will be watching Dustin Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes from AEW.
Amazing, great
Double
match.
or Nothing, 2021. And I think that's going to be a really unique episode because Cassidy was there live. So we're going to have two different perspectives, if that makes sense.
That does make sense, absolutely.
And he says he hasn't watched it since he watched it live.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that I'm really curious to know. In regards to Tom Talk Rubbish, again, I just want to continue having fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now that sounds like a very reasonable goal, man. And I think before we finish up, I think I'd like to ask you about, because we talked about how much you've grown and developed as a person. You can imagine, and I'm sure people, especially in our situation with CP and other disabilities, sometimes it is easy to feel like the world's against you, to feel like, why me? I've been there when I was younger as well. And moving away from YouTube now to general life, what would you say to somebody who's been there as you were, and I have been as well, who thinks, oh, I can't do, I can't set up a YouTube. I can't, what's the point of me getting out of bed in the morning? I'm never going to be able to, have a girlfriend, stuff like that, or have a partner, anything like that. What, because your confidence has improved tenfold is what I've heard through the YouTube stuff. Now, what would you say to anybody who is you at 13, who was me at 13, who thinks the world's against him, who thinks that nothing is possible? Because it sounds like to me now, not to lead the question, that you feel like a lot of things are possible for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like one of my biggest goals, probably not for next year, but definitely the 2024 one, is to go to America for Mania weekend.
Yeah, man.
Like me and Cassidy are talking about it, and it's like, I'd love to bring you out just to do something. And it was like, okay, that's going to promote some challenges because of this thing.
Of course.
For those that can't see, I'm touching my wheelchair, by the way. But we will do it. And so I've forgotten the original question. I do apologize.
No, it's okay. We were just saying, like, in terms of, for advice for somebody else that is young, that is where you were at 13 and where I was certainly at that age, thinking that things aren't possible, things aren't going to be able to be doable. But it sounds like you have learned that you are capable of doing stuff. No matter what that is, you can find ways to do it.
It's sort of like it's so hard because unless you're in that position, I really struggle to give advice because it's sort of like just try. Like I tried wheelchair rugby once, hated it. But I can say I've tried it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that, it's going to sound preachy, but, all you do is try. At the end of the day, it's all we do in this life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
If I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and Andy someone from Little Britain, do you know, the UK audience will get that reference, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow, but what I am going to wake up tomorrow and be able to do is my YouTube. And I'm going to be able to go see my mates and stuff like that. And I really feel like, what's it called? I always remember that there's people that are a lot worse off than me. Because I know people that have our version of cerebral palsy, but a lot worse. Yes. Or Anthony's version of cerebral palsy.
Of course.
And a lot worse, which is a worse type and stuff like that. I don't really know what else to say on that.
No. It's
just
fine.
Try.
I like that. Try is a good message. Absolutely. And in terms of your message, again, to the followers of Tom Talks Rubbish, on your family, friends, the people that have been behind you from the beginning, of your YouTube success, and also before that, what is your message to people that have supported you?
I was just going to say, even before my YouTube success, there's been times that I'm sure my mum has wanted to throw me out because of stuff that I've done in anger, and she hasn't. And like I was saying, I'm sure there's times that no one wanted anything to do with me in this care company. because of the way I was. And all I can say is thank you for putting up for me with me. To my followers, my message is just thank you, basically. Like, I'm such a grateful person, such a, like, how the fuck did I get here sort of person. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's a lot of hard work, man. A lot of hard work that you've put in, you know? Like,
yeah, but I do appreciate that, man. But it's very sort of like, how the fuck did this whole shit start happening?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And I applaud you and respect you for it. You know, outside of the disability stuff, again, the quality of the content is, you know, is there, and it will only continue to grow and develop as you continue on. The last question then is the question that I ask everybody, wrestlers, musicians. You know, it's the press and plugging bit. You've plugged a little bit of your show with Cassidy. Anything else? You know, where can people find you? What do you want people to check out? And yeah, how do you want people to support you going forward? Where can people go to see you?
So overall, the good people can find me on Twitter at TomTalksRubbish. And if they want to see my interviews, they can subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish on YouTube. Hopefully, Dom will put some links.
Yep, indeed I will.
Some links for the show with Cassidy. There's a YouTube channel, a Twitter profile, called Wrestle Watch Podcast, which people can go follow. They can also subscribe to bodyslam.net to find clips. No, to find the new show with Cassidy. And I'm going to promote this. Not entirely sure when it will be ready yet because I'm working on it behind the scenes. But I'm starting a clips channel for the smaller, like for the bigger stories of my YouTube interviews, because mine are like an hour long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm putting together a clips channel. So you can subscribe to TTR Clips on YouTube. And overall, I think that's pretty much it. I'm just going to spend a minute putting Dom over, if that's okay, though, guys, because Dom knows this. Like, he has been my YouTube mentor, my brother in arms in some ways, and like, I don't think my channel would be where it is today without you, man. So all I can say is thank you, big love. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
It's my absolute pleasure, mate. And honestly, only you know, things are only going to improve for you, mate. You're doing so well, and that's not, as you know, I'm not about lip service. I'm not about saying oh well done because you know you're doing so well because of your your disability.
Exactly.
It's about the quality of your content, and also let's just say that stuff you were saying earlier in the interview. I recognize, how difficult that is to look at where you've been and some of the stuff you've done you feel bad about, and how you've come on and progressed. So I respect and thank you for your honesty there, because it's not that shows a lot of strength of character to be able to do that. So it just goes to show, and I hope that you take away from this today, how far you've come, what you've learned, and why most importantly why you are getting Cassidy. Why Cassidy's helping you out, why I'm here talking to you, because you are a likable dude with a good heart and quality content. So, just like I say, on those days, and I'm sure we all have them, those bad, those days, I want you to remember, there's a lot of respect around YouTube for you now, and it's only going to develop as we go, as the years go on. So well done, mate. And thank you for your time as well. I appreciate you.
As I say, mate, anytime, if you want me to come on for a part 2
absolutely,
in the future, mate, I would be 100% down for that.
Absolutely. We got to get the Trinity. We've got to get Anthony back on at some point.
We will do it. We will do it.
We'll do it. So that'll be the next one. Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you soon, man.
Ciao.